Did you know Webkinz made a trading card game? We found about 120 Webkinz trading cards for $1 at a thrift store. And there were two obvious questions that came to mind. One, is it any good? And two, why? There are a couple of weird realizations we had during our first playthrough. First of all, the Webkinz art style, it's real ugly. It's one of those things where as a kid you don't notice it because it's colorful and fun, but yeah, the art style is a real stinker. Second of all, do you see these little symbols in the corner of the card? If you can collect enough Webkinz trading cards, you can actually use them as a standard 52 card deck of playing cards. Gosh, it is truly my favorite when I want a deck of cards and I have to open at least 5 booster packs until I collect the whole set. Why isn't every game sold this way? I love Wingspan, but it would be so much better if I had to open 200 booster packs to have all the components for a game. The thing that makes the Webkinz trading card game different from other collectible card games is that both players draw from the same deck of cards. It is not a head-to-head competition of who can make and utilize the best deck of cards, but instead, you use the same deck of cards and see who it's nicer to that day. So to set up, you create a draw pile to play with, and then you put out a market of challenge cards. These are how you win the game. The first person to complete 4 wins. These can range from discarding a few cards of the same type and gaining a reward to completing something very easy like drawing a card and taking a penalty. Some cards make you say things. I love my Webkinz, which I think is an underutilized mechanic in modern games. A quick note on the quote-unquote deck building of this game. It is possible to choose a combination of cards in your deck and challenge cards that don't work together. If a challenge card needs you to discard winter cards, part of the deck building of the game is you need to place enough winter cards in the deck for that challenge to be viable at all. When you create a random deck of Magic the Gathering cards, it is still playable, no matter what. The deck might be terrible, but you can still deal damage and defend. That is not true for this supposedly child-friendly deck builder. It is possible to put a ton of random cards together and have the game be completely unplayable. So, is this game worthy of a trophy? What this game does well is that it's a surprisingly good introductory card game. The game has timing, hand management, consistent yet variable objectives, with consistent yet variable game states. It's a perfectly serviceable children's card game, and if a child gets older and wants to try a competitive deck rather than a shared deck, there's rules for that too. If you have a child who likes Webkinz, I recommend it, but not for them to play on their own. The game needs some parental guidance to run. And if you're an adult who desperately needs a kick of fever dream nostalgia, the problems with the game should be obvious, but it is playable and fun, and the rules are all online. They even have a playmat you can download off the wiki, and the booster packs are surprisingly cheap online. And no, unfortunately, I never got the card of Sexy Gem Daddy.